Sometimes the weight we feel inside our homes doesn't come from the size of the house or the amount of work we've done in life. It comes from the quiet accumulation of things. Most of us never really notice when it begins. A drawer fills here, a shelf fills there. A box gets tucked into the back of a closet because we may need it someday. Years pass, and little by little, the home begins to hold more than we realize. Not just objects, responsibilities. Because every item we keep asks something from us. It needs space. It needs care. It needs to be moved, cleaned, remembered, or organized. And eventually there comes a moment many people recognize. You walk into your living room, look around, and feel a little tired before you've even sat down. Many older adults assume this feeling simply comes with age. But in Japan, many elders see it differently. They believe that as life moves forward, the home should slowly grow lighter, not heavier. Instead of continuing to gather things, they begin to release what is no longer needed. Over time, this gentle process creates a home that feels calmer and easier to live in. Today, I want to share 6 quiet habits inspired by Japanese traditions that help many people create that kind of peaceful space. These are not rules or strict systems. They are simply ways of thinking about our homes that can help life feel a little lighter. And if you enjoy calm conversations like this about decluttering and simple living, take a moment to like the video and subscribe to Wise Aging Seniors. It helps this channel reach more people who are looking for a slower, more peaceful approach to organizing their homes. Now let's begin with the first idea. Oosouji, clearing the places we stop. Many people describe it as a deep cleaning done before the new year begins. But the idea behind it goes far beyond ordinary cleaning. Oosouji focuses on the places we tend to overlook. The tops of cabinets, high shelves in closets, door frames and ceiling corners, the space beneath the bed, behind furniture that hasn't been moved in years. These are the parts of the home that slowly collect dust simply because we stop looking at them. And over time, they quietly become storage areas for things we once set aside for now. Think about the top of your refrigerator for a moment. For many homes, that spot slowly turns into a resting place for boxes, containers, or appliances that are rarely used. No one sees them every day, so they remain there for years. The same thing happens on the highest shelves in closets or in the dark corners under the bed. Things are placed there temporarily, and then 10 years pass. Japanese elders believe these overlooked areas hold more than dust. They hold pieces of the past that were never fully cleared away. Old gadgets that were once useful. Holiday decorations that haven't been opened in years. Kitchen tools that were replaced but never let go. When these forgotten spaces stay full for too long, the home can begin to feel quietly heavy. You may not always notice it consciously, but the mind does. Our brains are constantly scanning our surroundings. Every crowded shelf or hidden pile becomes a small, unfinished task waiting in the background. Even when you are sitting down to relax, part of the mind still senses that unfinished work. That is why clearing these forgotten places can feel surprisingly powerful. Many people who try this for the first time notice something almost immediately. After clearing the top shelf of a closet or emptying a long-ignored cabinet, the room suddenly feels different, lighter, more open. The space becomes easier to move through. Light reaches places it hasn't touched in years. And perhaps most important of all, the mind begins to relax. Instead of feeling surrounded by things waiting to be handled someday, the room feels calm and manageable. For many seniors, this is where decluttering becomes less overwhelming. Instead of trying to organize the entire house at once, you begin with the spaces that quietly disappeared from daily attention. Look above your normal line of sight. Look into the corners. Look at the areas that slowly became storage without you even realizing it. You may discover items you completely forgot existed. Old appliances, boxes of unused kitchen gadgets, extra containers saved just in case, decorations that haven't been taken out in years. Many of these things stayed only because they were out of sight. Once they are cleared, the home begins to feel easier to manage again. This is one of the quiet lessons behind Oosouji. Your home should support your life. Your life should not be spent supporting your belongings. And once those hidden spaces begin to open up, another layer of decluttering becomes easier to face. Because the next challenge is not dust or storage. It is something much more personal. The memories we attach to our things. And that brings us to the next Japanese idea. Danshari, learning to separate memories from objects. Once the hidden corners of the home begin to clear, many people notice something else. The real challenge of decluttering is rarely the object itself. More often, it's the feeling attached to it. A jacket may remind you of the years you spent working. A set of dishes may bring back memories of family dinners. A piece of furniture may have been given by someone you loved. Because of this, letting go of the item can feel uncomfortable, almost as if the memory itself might disappear. This is where the Japanese idea of Danshari offers a very gentle perspective. Danshari is often translated simply as decluttering, but it really describes a way of thinking about our relationship with possessions. The word contains three ideas. The first is about being thoughtful about what we allow into our homes. The second is about letting go of things that have already accumulated. And the third, which many people find the most meaningful, is learning to separate our emotional connection from the physical object. For many older adults, this last step can feel difficult at first, because objects sometimes feel like containers for our memories. But Japanese elders often say something comforting. Memories do not live inside the object. They live inside us. The object simply helped carry the memory for a while. When it has finished doing that job, it has already served its purpose. One quiet practice within Danshari reflects this idea beautifully. Before letting something go, you pause for a moment and acknowledge it. You might hold the item in your hands and say something simple like, "Thank you for being part of my life." It may sound unusual, but this small moment changes the entire experience. Instead of feeling like you are throwing something away, you are closing a chapter with gratitude. You recognize the role that object played in your story, and then you allow it to move on. Many people notice that once they begin doing this, the feeling of guilt slowly fades, because the discomfort was never really about the item itself. It was about feeling as if you were disrespecting the past. But gratitude turns letting go into a peaceful act. Over time, something else begins to change as well. The home slowly stops feeling like a storage space for the past. Instead, it begins to reflect the life you are living today. You start surrounding yourself with the things you actually use and appreciate now, the things that support your daily comfort. Japanese elders sometimes express this idea very simply. If something no longer serves your present life, it may be ready to serve someone else. And this leads naturally into another beautiful idea from Japanese culture, one that helps people see the value of the things they already have, rather than constantly replacing them. This idea is known as Wabi-Sabi. Modern culture quietly encourages us to believe that everything should look new. Magazines show perfectly arranged homes, furniture without marks, dishes that match perfectly, clothing that looks as though they just came from the store. Without realizing it, many people begin comparing their own homes to those images. They hide older items. They save their best belongings for special occasions. They feel slightly embarrassed when something shows signs of age. But the Japanese philosophy of Wabi-Sabi invites us to see things differently. Instead of chasing perfection, Wabi-Sabi celebrates the quiet beauty of things that have been used and lived with. A wooden table with small scratches becomes meaningful because it has supported countless meals and conversations. A favorite cup with a tiny crack becomes special because it has been part of daily life for years. These marks are not flaws. They are reminders that the object has been part of real living. This way of thinking removes a surprising amount of pressure from the home. Think about how many households keep certain items tucked away for special occasions. Beautiful dishes stored in cabinets, soft blankets folded carefully in closets, decorative glasses saved for guests. Sometimes these items sit untouched for decades. Meanwhile, the things used every day are often the simplest ones. Wabi-Sabi gently encourages a different approach. Instead of saving your favorite things for someday, allow them to be part of ordinary life. Drink your tea from the cup you truly enjoy. Use the dishes that make meals feel pleasant. Wrap yourself in the blanket that feels most comfortable. When the objects you appreciate become part of everyday living, the home begins to feel more personal and relaxed. There is less pressure to impress anyone, and less desire to constantly replace things with newer versions. Another quiet benefit appears as well. When we begin valuing what we already have, we naturally stop collecting so many extras. Duplicates and unnecessary replacements start to feel less important. The home slowly contains fewer things, but the things that remain feel more meaningful. And when that happens, another element begins to appear inside the home. Space. Not empty space that feels unfinished, but space that feels peaceful, which brings us to another calming idea found in many Japanese homes. An idea that may feel unfamiliar at first but quickly becomes comforting. In many homes, an empty space can feel slightly uncomfortable. If a shelf is empty, the natural instinct is to place something on it. If a wall has nothing hanging on it, it can seem unfinished. A table with open space often collects objects before long, but in Japan, empty space is not seen as something lacking. It is seen as something valuable. The idea is called ma. Ma refers to the space between things. It is the pause between musical notes that allows the music to feel balanced. It is the quiet moment between breaths that allows the body to relax. Without those pauses, everything would feel crowded and overwhelming. The same is true inside a home. If every wall holds pictures and every surface is filled with objects, the eyes never get a moment to rest. The brain continues processing visual information even when we are trying to relax. This is why rooms that are filled from corner to corner can sometimes leave us feeling slightly restless without understanding why. Japanese homes often include areas that are intentionally left open. A shelf might hold just one meaningful object. A table may remain mostly clear. A wall may stay simple and undecorated. At first, this may feel unusual, especially for people who are used to filling every available space. But after a little time, something interesting happens. The room begins to feel calmer. Your shoulders relax. Your breathing slows slightly. The mind stops working so hard to process everything in the room. Many Japanese elders describe ma as a kind of visual quiet. Just as silence allows music to be appreciated, open space allows a room to feel peaceful. Once people begin experiencing this feeling, they often realize that not every surface needs decoration. Not every wall needs pictures, and not every shelf needs objects. Sometimes the most comforting part of a room is simply the space itself. And when we begin appreciating that quiet space, another step in the decluttering journey becomes easier. Allowing objects to leave our homes so they can continue serving a purpose elsewhere. And that idea is called motanai, letting objects continue their purpose. At some point during decluttering, many people face a familiar feeling. Guilt. Guilt about the money spent on something. Guilt about letting go of an item that still works. Guilt about feeling as though something useful might be wasted. The Japanese concept of motanai offers a thoughtful way to look at this feeling. Motanai expresses regret when something valuable is wasted. But interestingly, many Japanese elders believe that keeping useful items unused can also be a kind of waste. Every object was created with a purpose. A warm coat is meant to keep someone warm. A set of tools is meant to repair or build something. A book is meant to be opened and read. When these items sit untouched in closets or boxes for years, they are no longer fulfilling their purpose. Some Japanese elders describe unused possessions as being asleep. They still have value. They are simply waiting to be useful again. Imagine a warm winter coat hanging quietly in a closet for many years. It may still be in excellent condition, but if no one is wearing it, its purpose has paused. Now imagine that same coat being worn by someone walking through cold weather on their way to work or school. Suddenly, the coat is alive again. It is doing exactly what it was created to do. Seeing possessions this way can make letting go feel very different. Instead of feeling like you are throwing something away, it can feel more like releasing it, allowing it to continue its purpose somewhere else. Many older adults find this idea very comforting because the money spent on the item has already passed. Keeping the object hidden does not bring that money back, but allowing it to help someone else gives the object new meaning. A set of tools might help a neighbor who enjoys fixing things. Clothing might bring warmth to someone who needs it. Books can travel into new hands and new conversations. The waste is not in letting an item go. The waste is in allowing it to sit unused for years. When we begin thinking about possessions this way, decluttering becomes less stressful. It becomes an act of generosity rather than loss. And this leads beautifully into the final idea, one that focuses not on the past or even on objects themselves, but on the life we are living today. Kurashi, shaping the space around your daily life. The Japanese word kurashi refers to one's way of living. It describes the quiet rhythm of everyday life, the small routines that shape how our days begin and end. As people grow older, something subtle often happens inside the home. The house continues reflecting a version of life that existed many years ago. There may be large dining tables from the days when family gatherings filled the house, gardening tools from a time when outdoor work was easier, extra furniture stored in rooms that once welcomed frequent visitors. These items often hold beautiful memories, but sometimes they also make the present life feel heavier than necessary. Kurashi invites us to gently shift our attention toward the life we are living now. Japanese elders sometimes ask a very simple question: what do I truly need within the 3 feet around me? Think about the places you interact with most often. The chair where you sit in the morning, the bedside table next to where you sleep, the kitchen counter where you prepare meals. These small spaces shape much of our daily experience. If they are crowded or disorganized, even simple routines can begin with a small feeling of effort. You reach for a glass of water, but must move several objects first. You sit down to read, but the table beside you is cluttered. Little moments like these can quietly drain energy. But when those immediate spaces are calm and intentional, daily life becomes easier. A bedside table holding only a lamp, a book, and a glass of water. A comfortable chair with a soft blanket nearby. A kitchen counter that allows you to prepare meals without clearing space first. These small adjustments create a sense of ease from the very start of the day. Japanese elders often believe that peace does not come from perfectly organizing an entire house. It comes from shaping the spaces we use every single day. When those spaces reflect our current lifestyle, the whole home begins to feel lighter. The house no longer feels like a museum of past decades. Instead, it becomes a comfortable place designed for the life we are living right now. And that shift can feel incredibly freeing, because life is always changing. Our homes can change gently with us. When we look at these ideas together, a clear pattern begins to appear. Clearing forgotten corners, letting memories live in the heart rather than in objects. Appreciating the beauty of the things we already have, allowing space to exist, letting useful items continue their purpose, and shaping our homes around the life we live today. None of these ideas require rushing or drastic change. They simply invite us to look at our homes with fresh eyes, and little by little, the space around us begins to feel calmer. The mind begins to feel lighter. If you're watching this and thinking about a drawer, a shelf, or a closet in your own home, you're not alone. Many people start their journey with one small space. Sometimes it's a kitchen drawer. Sometimes it's a stack of old paperwork. Sometimes it's a closet that hasn't been opened in years. If you feel comfortable sharing, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What is one small space in your home that you've recently cleared or are thinking about clearing? Your experience may encourage someone else who is just beginning. And if this conversation has helped you see your home a little differently today, feel free to like the video and subscribe to Wise Aging Seniors. This channel is a place for calm conversations about simplifying life, caring for our homes, and creating spaces that support peaceful living. Thank you for spending this time here. I look forward to seeing you again in the next video.